Oh, we're good.
Yeah.
I'm not a big city.
Okay, now, could I start with T, South Dakota?
But you can start wherever you want. This is,
Okay.
How long are you staying?
yeah, you know, you're 95 years old. We don't have 95 years to listen to everything, so you can start wherever you want, I guess.
Okay, when you go to T, when you go to
I don't
T,
know.
South Dakota, you go
Yeah.
to Sioux Falls,
Yeah,
and you go to the Good Samaritan Society,
right. Yep.
and you will see that the Good Samaritan Society home court is in Sioux Falls.
Right, right. I did know that actually.
And if it, yeah, it's like, and if it wouldn't be for me,
Really?
it would still be in Fargo. Okay, what happened? There was one lady in Lennox who was going to make a retirement home for profit.
Okay.
So I came to her and I told her, well, I know the Good Samaritan Society in Arthur, North Dakota. And so I said they would probably, you could probably join them and you could be the manager of the home. So she said, no, she's going to do it on herself. Then she stopped by and she said, okay, I'm going to go with them.
I hate being in a room with closed doors.
So we got the
I'll just get up and...
Hager, who I knew personally, down and talked to him. And then when they heard that in Pierre, South Dakota, they said there's no way there's going to be another home of the Good Samaritan Society in South Dakota. Somebody in Aberdeen froze to death and they had a lawsuit that went for years and years. And so they said, no way. So I found out who it was. And they said, he's in Sioux Falls. Oh, he stays in a hotel. Oh. So I got up 5 o'clock in the morning, drove down there, went to the hotel, looked here. He was sitting in there with somebody, you know. He was the one that had to sign it. So I stood in the door, he came out, I stood in front of him. What do you want? I said, I want to talk to you about this home in Lennox. And I would like to have it signed. We can't do that. So he told his other person to go on. He sat down here. I sat here. He sat there. Looked at his clock. And I said, I know this Good Samaritan Society. I know the founder of it. I went to school with two of his sons. And during the Depression, his policy was to take anybody. And so on. This went on, and finally he got up and he shook my hand. And he said, are you going to guarantee that this home is supposed to be run the way it's run? He shook my hands, he signed it, and that's the home there. And out of that there came a home, 5 or 6 homes around there. And the headquarters were moved from Fargo to Sioux Falls.
Because the first one was in Arthur, right? I mean, the first Good
Yeah,
Samaritan
yeah.
home.
And the reason I knew that is because every fall they would take a little truck out there. We had somebody from our congregation there that was in the home there. And so every fall they would gather some canned goods and stuff, but they don't allow that anymore, you know. Yeah.
Her sister, after she got her nursing degree, I think that was her first job out of college was at the Good Sam nursing home in Arthur, because he had her husband had a teaching job in Arthur, and so we'd learned quite a bit about the history
They
of
used to grow a garden. They had a garden.
for the residents. You mean for the residents? You mean?
Yeah.
And then somebody said, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, that's right.
It's too healthy.
Yeah. The reason he copied homes in Germany where they had farm homes, you know, and they support the home. Another story that's just about like that, in T, South Dakota, there was a Mr. Peters, and he had a store there, and he was one of the wealthiest people in the congregation. He only gave about $3 or $5 a Sunday, you know, but he was wealthy, you know. But
he
he was
German?
telling me, that he was in a thrashing crew one time, and somebody told him, he said, if you take 10% of every dollar that goes through you, you're going to be a millionaire. Oh, wow. So that's what he did. But then he said he would visit the farm home there. They had for the people that couldn't. And the man that told him that was in the farmhouse, for poor farm.
Oh, really?
They had poor farms there,
Was it in T, South Dakota when you had your lawnmower accident?
lawnmower 2 was cut off.
Yeah, because I remember that. And one of the very distinct things I remember about that is you were in the hospital, and my dad called your house because he wasn't exactly sure, and a lot of you answered the phone, and my dad's voice and your dad's voice were similar enough. You said, "Oh, honey, I'll be right there," not realizing that you were saying this to my dad instead of to him, because you thought he was calling from the hospital, but it was really my dad calling from North Dakota. But you confused the two because the voices are so similar that I remember that. So.
Yeah, there was another incident. Oh yes, okay. When I came back from Germany,
Which time?
I was in 52 after she was born. I came back from Germany, and we had no place to go. So I went to the district president in Fargo, and I just about had a car accident. Unruh was his name. And he said, "Reuben, the church doesn't know where you're living." I said, "Okay, fine." So I came back to South Dakota. I didn't have any place to go because they had just united the church, and they had 8 more pastors than congregations.
8 more pastors
than congregations.
Well, that's a problem you don't have anymore.
No, but they had towns that had 3 Lutheran churches. They kind of,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, really?
And so we were in Taylor, South Dakota. A lot of remembers that. We stayed there, and finally we thought we would go north to North Dakota. So,
What were you doing in Taylor?
because, where we were supposed to go.
I don't know. What took you there?
Well, that's where I was before.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, Taylor. And so finally we had to go. It was Sunday morning. We drove off. Should we go to church in Scotland? Lida said, "No, we're not going to church in Scotland." So I drove up to my uncle, Uncle Dudley.
That was in Delmont, or where was it?
No, that was in Freeman.
Freeman.
He closed the gate, came out. He said, "Reuben, what's going on?" I said, "Turn around, we have confirmation." Oh, confirmation. So I went to the confirmation class there. It was a big class, all kinds of people. And there was a pastor, God damn, what was his name? I'll never forget him. But he was the pastor there, and I got to know him because he came from Germany. I bought this book from him.
Oh, really?
$4. So I came there, and he had the service, right? And he said, "They want me to be professor of German in Sioux Falls College." But he said, "I can't take it." He said, "Why don't you take it?" "What?" "Yeah, you take it." He said, "You're just from Germany." Because I got my master's degree from the University of South Dakota. So I got there, and within 6 hours, he called the president of Sioux Falls College, which was a German Russian, by the way, and in a matter of a couple of hours, I was a professor there.
Wow. That's who you know.
Yeah.
And this Sioux Falls College, that still exists, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a little school.
Yeah.
It's not Augustana. Augustana's a different
That's a
one,
separate
right? Yeah, because
I have a little story about that too.
really, I'm surprised. I'm shocked. No.
Yeah, you'll be shocked at this. They had, when they founded the school,
No, you're talking South
So,
Augustana or the
no,
other?
it was Sioux Falls College.
Okay,
Get
When
to-
it was founded, they had in their contract, no Jew or
So I'm
no
recording it so I can study it.
Mason.
whoa,
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay, found they had in the contract. That lasted until the end of the war. And then when they came and inspected the school, they got there mostly from the east. Somebody turned off the light. Oh, it works. They checked it out on the content. This is the book. Is the book really there? And they put him off the list. They put him on probation. No more, you know. But they didn't give up, because they gave him 2 years of college or two, then they would send him to the University of South Dakota. The credits would transfer, and they would be graduates from Sioux Falls College. Now this went on for 10 years, you see, until they were accredited again. They could not be accredited unless they had somebody like that, but they kept it going, you know. And that was one of the first ones. But they told me that this is when they really enforced that thing, you know. And they told me that one of them came by his office and they put on the light, oh, it works, and so on. For 10 years they were off balance, you know. And the reason that the University of South Dakota was willing to do that, because they didn't want Augustana to be the only one to do fault. All little stuff, you know.
politics.
Yeah. But and then you know how Sioux Falls they had a choice whether they wanted the university or federal prison. Because it's still a federal prison, and the choice, of course, was to take the prison, you know.
More money?
Yeah, no, you know, University of South Dakota is in Yankton.
No,
in
it's Vermilion.
Huh?
Vermilion.
And then the other one's in Yankton.
No.
Yeah, that's gone now, yeah.
Yeah. No, South Dakota State is in Brookings.
Oh, Brookings and Vermilion.
What's his
Brookings
name?
and
What's his
Vermilion.
name? Got his master's degree from the University of South Dakota.
Hilbert?
Hilbert, yeah.
That's
yeah.
right. He
And I have a
got
little story about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's story.
With Hilbert or the
Yeah, sorry. Okay, now we came back from Germany, and I was going to do my doctorate in theology. I had everything kind of ready to go. I had everything gathered together. I got there and I met this outhouse. This man.
Yeah.
$4.
Yeah. You wrote this
You remember
book.
that part, huh?
You wrote this book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
He came there and he told me, he said somebody in Marburg had done the same dissertation that I was going to do. Okay, so I got the dissertation, and sure enough it was a complete same thing. So this failed. So I came from there, I came back, got to Kaler. Another thing there, we didn't have any money to pay for the ship. The congregation paid the money. Okay, that's another story. So we got there, and now where was that now with Elthouse? Yeah.
Well, the guy had written the same dissertation,
Yeah, okay.
had the same theme.
So I came there, I came to Kaler. So one day, some people from the congregation said they're going to go to Sioux Falls, Sioux City. They went there. So I said, okay, can you stop in Vermilion? Yeah, well, they could. And so I came to Vermilion, I went to the university, I showed them that I was a graduate of Wartburg and so on. And I found out that if I took classes twice a week, I could earn 9 hours credit in one semester. You say, okay. They waited out in the car, and I came back, and they were, So every morning at 5 o'clock, I would leave the house, didn't tell the congregation, go to Vermilion, take my hours, come back Tuesday and Thursday. They didn't know what was going on with this pastor. Where's he going? Where's he going? So I earned my 9 hours, okay. Then we went to summer school there. Then and then I got my master's degree, which was the gateway to to go to teaching, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's been something else, you know. Yeah.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to okay. I went to high school in the county in the school at the same school for 10 years.
Oh, because you took by correspondence?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
the deal is?
I went to school for 10 years, 7 months of the year. Okay. And so the last 2 years I went to Napoleon and I graduated.
Napoleon, okay.
Yeah, I graduated from there. And then when I came to Wartburg, I came late, by the way. I was about 10 days late, you know. I came because I was hauling bundles. So I came there, and they told me, "Hey, you didn't take your IQ test."
IQ test.
Yeah. No, you didn't. Oh, you have to take your IQ test. The others had taken it. So I went to the dean's office. There, you know, ABC, ABC, ABC. So I filled it out, handed it in. Okay. So about a week or two later, I went to the dean's office. You know, I'd like to know how I did with my IQ test. I didn't know yet. So I saw somebody, the dean of the college, was smoking his pipe, you know. We stopped him, a friend of mine was, "I'd like to know my IQ test." Oh, he said, "Forget it, you'll make it." So I never found out what my IQ was.
But you had to have it.
Yeah, well, I was 20 months less than the others, because I just had 7 months school, you see. And the others all had that. And then we have another story, you know, there's a lot of stories. I had Emil Doctor. I know whether you know Emil Doctor. He was a pastor in Billings. Rose knew him. He came from Streeter. And he wanted to be a preacher. So he mailed his stuff into Wartburg and said, "You're accepted." Some of the student organization accepted. So he came down there and he showed this letter that he got, and they said, "Well, good grief, you don't have high school. You want to go to college without high school?" "Yeah, but," I said, "I can't go home." He said, "You're a school that teaches preachers, and I want to be a preacher." Okay, so they said, well, finally, they allowed him to go. So we would sit together like this, and we would go through biology and so on. He started getting D, B, finally got the C's, you know, and so on. Then he was okay. But then there was, in that particular time, the Navy had a program, they called it V-15, that they trained their own preachers. Before they couldn't train them. But now the military trained them. And so we could apply for that. And he did. And so he applied for that, and then he started going to school. And he came to various schools under the government. He came to what is that one in in Minnesota there? Gosh, it's St. Peter's, Swedish school.
St. Peter's, or
yeah.
which one that Emily went to?
Yeah, so he had all these sailors, these people going into school there. So they called up 2 names. They would like to, just a minor thing, they were eating their 2 names, called his name and so on and so on. And so finally they knocked him in, "What do you want to know?" He said, "We don't have a record of your high school." Yeah. "What? I never went, what? You never went to high school? And you got here?"
How many years later was that?
Well, I don't know.
Wallace.
So he went on, you know, and he got all his training, you know. I used to visit him, all his training in high school. Then when he got done with that, he took his high school test, and he started going to seminary, you know. I used to visit him all the time in Sioux Falls. We fought even now, yeah.
Change batteries here.